Hi students, we are discussing about the stereochemistry. Today we will discuss about the lecture number 20, that is our last chapter of the stereochemistry, and the module is 3. Yeah, so the subject name is our chemistry, the subject code is CH101 or T201, the credit is 3 and the contact hour is 35. Uh, this is the yeah, these are the some of the course objectives that we have. That is, the concept developed in this course will aid in quantification of the several concept in chemistry that have been introduced at your 10+2 level in your school, and technology is being increasingly based on the electronics, atomic and molecular level modifications. These are the some of the course outcomes for our course. That is, you can describe the fundamental properties of atoms and molecules, and also atomic structure and the periodicity of the elements in the periodic table. You can apply the fundamental concepts of thermodynamics in different engineering applications. Okay, you can apply the knowledge of your water quality parameters, the corrosion control and the polymers to different industries. You are able to determine the structure of organic molecules by using different spectroscopic technique, and also you can evaluate the theoretical and practical aspects relating to the transformation of the relating to the synthesis of the products from lab to industrial scale. So these are the some of the course outcomes that we have. Okay, next, this is the lecture plan for the stereochemistry, and then these are the some of the objectives of our today's class. So today we will discuss about the geometrical isomerism. Okay, the configuration isomerism or geometrical isomerism, that is DL, and racemization. These are the some of the objectives that today we will discuss. Okay, so first of all, at a glance we will see whatever the topics that we have discussed in our previous previous class. First of all, just we will see, because you should remember all these topics, as this is the continuation of the previous classes. So if you don't, if you just forget about the concept, then it will be difficult for you to understand the today's topic also. Okay, so that is why I am repeating again the just the important points, right? So this is the stereoisomerism we have discussed, the enantiomers we have discussed, and also we have discussed about the diastereomers. Okay, so isomers, generally what are the isomers? Isomers, the compounds that have the same molecular formula but the different chemical structures, so they are called by the isomer. The chemical formula, molecular formula will be same, that means the number of carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, whatever it is in our molecule, that will be same for the both atoms, both molecules, but the chemical arrangement, but the functional arrangement of the functional group will be different, the spatial arrangement will be different. Okay, isomers contain the same number of atoms of each element, but have different arrangement of their atoms. Isomers are classified to different types of different types depending on what differences there are between the structures. Now we know actually isomers are of the two types, one is constitutional isomer, one is stereoisomer. Okay, now constitutional isomers, that means if the chemical structure, if there will be in between two structures, if there will be the arrangement of the functional groups will be different, but the chemical formula will be same. So that is called by the constitutional isomers. And stereoisomers also, if the in between two atoms, if the spatial arrangement of the atoms will be different, but the chemical formula is the same as their isomers. Okay, so that is called by the stereoisomers. Now this is the total classification. So based on the connectivity, first of all, the isomers will be of two type. One is constitutional isomer, one is stereoisomer, based on the connectivity, right? Next, interconvertible by rotation about the single bond. So based on this, with the aspect of this, how they are, these isomers are of two types. One is conformational, one is configurational. Now this configuration isomers again of two type. One is optical isomer, one is geometrical isomer. And optical isomers are of two type. One is enantiomer and diastereomers, and geometrical isomers are of two type. One is cis and trans. Okay. So these are the actually these are the some of the isomers. These are the some of the classification that we can do for the isomers. And optical and geometrical isomers can be divided based on the rotation of the plane polarized light. Okay. Yeah, these are the some properties of stereoisomers, that is they will differ only in the way the atoms are oriented in space, have different have identical IUPAC num, always have the same functional group, and differ in configuration. Okay, so these are the some of the properties of stereoisomers. Now stereoisomers again of three type: conformational, optical and configuration. Or this also we can say that stereoisomers are of two type. One is conformational and second one is configurational. Now the configurational isomers are of two type. One is optical isomer and one is geometrical isomer. Okay, again optical isomers are of two types. One is enantiomer and one is diastereomer. So by this way, in this way also we can classify our stereoisomers. Okay. Yeah. Now conformational isomer, actually conformational isomers means while we are we rotate the one molecule with the help of the single bond. Okay, so that will make different conformational isomers, right? So only mind it, only the single bond will rotate, not the double bond, not the triple bond. Okay, only the single bond, while the rotation of the only single bond will take place, and that will give different conformational isomers. Like for the Newman projection, from this projection to Newman projection, what will happen? This carbon is constant, right? That is the pointed carbon, this carbon. Okay, this is the C1 carbon. Yes, this is C1 carbon, and this is C2 carbon. Now you can see C2 carbon. For the C2 carbon, the three atoms are there, and these three atoms are moving. Either it is staggered configuration, either it is eclipse configuration, or it can be it can be Gauss configuration. So these are the some of the conformational isomers that we have. Okay, so we can say that staggered means the bulkier groups will be far away from each other, huh? And the eclipse one means the bulkier group will be impossible. Look here, huh? Over the imposed with each other. So this is called eclipse form. Okay, so this eclipse form, the energy of this eclipse form will be highest, as the bulkier group are the crowded position, staggered position. So this is energetically very high, and this is unstable conformation. Okay. Now, optical isomers can be divided into two by the rotation of plane polarized light. Now, we know that chiral compound, we know about the terms, that is, one is chiral carbon, one is achiral carbon. Chiral carbon, that means these carbons are having four different atoms, and they are not superimposable in their mirror images. Okay, and achiral carbon means if the carbon is not bonded with four different atoms and also superimposable on its mirror image, that is called by the achiral carbon. Generally, chiral carbon, if we pass through the the light, plane polarized light through this chiral compound, what will happen, the pathway of this plane polarized light, that will be deviated. Okay, that will be rotated by clockwise rotation it can have, or uh, or it can have the anti-clockwise rotation. Okay, so this is the some of the properties that we have for the chiral compounds. Yes, this is the achiral compound. You can see from the light source, whatever the plane polarized light we are getting, that is not rotating clockwise or anti-clockwise. Okay, so only there will be no rotation. So this is for the achiral carbon. So this indicates that our sample is achiral, and if the rotation will take place, then then we can tell that our compound is chiral. Yeah, optical isomers. Optical isomers, generally what will happen, if the rotation will be clockwise rotation, then right side to the right by clockwise rotation, then in the older previously we use this the indication, use this symbol, that is D, dextro rotatory. Okay, D, but nowadays we are denoting it by the positive. Positive means that molecule can rotate the plane polarized light by the clockwise direction. Okay, levorotatory, that means that is also indicated by L previously, and for nowadays it is indicated by the negative sign. Okay, that is called by levorotatory. Okay, why? Because they are rotating the plane polarized light anti-clockwise. Okay, now stereoisomers, again of two types we know, that is enantiomer, diastereomers. So enantiomers, these are the some of the examples of enantiomers. Generally the stereoisomer, which is non superimposable mirror images, that is called by the yeah, that is called by the stereoisomers. Okay, have one or more chiral center, lack of plane of symmetry, non superimposable on its mirror image, and have some physical and chemical properties. Rotate the plane polarized light by exactly the same number of degree but in opposite direction. Okay, so this is the property of the enantiomer. Generally what will happen, if we have the two enantiomers, they can rotate the plane polarized light either clockwise direction. If one molecule, one enantiomer will rotate the plane polarized light by clockwise, another one will rotate the anti-clockwise rotation. Okay, so these are the some of the properties of enantiomer. These are the some of the examples that we have already seen in our previous class. So this is the racemic mixture. So today also we will discuss about the racemic mixture, don't worry. Now diastereomers. Diastereomers, generally if they are not having any properties, any similarities, that is two molecules don't have any similarities, like they are not mirror images, they may be chiral or they may not be chiral. They may rotate the plane polarized light, they may not rotate the plane polarized light. So these the properties we can see for the diastereomers. Okay, now we can see here, here 2 amino 3 hydroxybutanoic acid we have. Okay, if we place a mirror, then if this is again the 2 amino 3 hydroxy butanoic acid, but this is not the this is not the mirror images of this compound, right? So this pair is called by the diastereomers. They are not having any similarities. This is the diastereomers. Again, this is the examples of the diastereomers. One is D erythros, and here, yeah. Okay, so one is D erythros and the L erythros, and one is D trios and L trios. Now, in between this relation, the D erythros and D trios, they are the diastereomers, are L erythros and L trios, they are the diastereomers. So these are the some of the examples of diastereomers. Okay, now again this is the methanol and neomethan menthol, sorry, menthol. This is the menthol and this is the neomenthol. So they are also the diastereomers. Okay, so these are the some of the differentiation between the diastereomers again. This is the tartaric acid. If we place a mirror image, so mirror, so this will be the mirror image, and which is the what, enantiomer. These mirror images are non superimposable, so they are enantiomers. But if we see this molecule, these molecules are not, this molecule is not the mirror image of this tartaric acid, so this is called by the diastereomers. Again, this is the mirror image of the enantiomer, mirror image of the tartaric acid, also with this relation is also their diastereomers. Okay, so this is the examples of diastereomers. Now the enantiomers are non superimposable mirror images, are diastereomers generally don't have any similarities. We cannot specify for the diastereomers these properties are similar. Okay, all are chiral, all enantiomers should be chiral, may be chiral or achiral, have identical physical properties and chemical properties, but for the diastereomers we don't have the chemical properties. We don't have similar chemical properties, physical and chemical both are different. Okay, next we will discuss about the configurational isomers. Okay, the configurational isomers actually again we can say that is of two type. One is optical isomer and geometrical isomer. Optical isomer already we have seen, that is enantiomer and diastereomers. Now we will see the geometrical isomer, that is cis and trans. Cis isomer we have and trans isomer we have. These are the two types of geometrical isomers. Okay, so these are the examples. Now what will happen, cis means, while look here, this is the bonded with the double bond, right, and both the A groups and both the B groups are the same side, so this is called by the cis. Now if the A group and B groups are in the opposite direction, that is called by the trans. Okay, again so this cis or trans again we can denote with the help of the priority range. Okay, which group, if we have the bulkier group, so we have to first consider the bulkier group and then we can understand which one will be the cis and which one will be the trans one. If we swap the chlorine and hydrogen atoms for this, on the first carbon atom, the new arrangement has a different relative positioning of the atom in space. Now geometrical isomerism, if you swap the chlorine and hydrogen atom on the first carbon atom, the new arrangement has the same relative positioning of the atoms in space. No, now these are the geometrical isomers. Yeah, so these are the some of the types of geometrical isomers that we have. These are the okay. So but these are not the geometrical the no geometrical isomerism. If you swap the red and green atoms on the first carbon atom, the new arrangement has a different relation. Okay, so these are the some of the examples of the geometrical isomerism, that is all cis and trans are how we will determine by the priority of the groups. Priority groups mainly depending on the bulkier group. Okay, so these are the different factors by which we can tell ki this group is our primary group, our main prime group, and if it is in the opposite side, then it will be the trans. If it is in the same side of the double bond, then it is the cis one. Okay, so you can see here the structure with n different double bonds exist in two geometrical isomeric form. Now look here, this is first double bond, this is second double bond. So first with respect to the first double bond, you can see here this is the heavier group we have at the same side. So these carbon, this is the cis isomerism. Now if we consider here, this double bond, if we consider, then you can see that one bulkier group is at the upside, and this total bulkier group is at the downside, that means far away of each other. So this is also trans, cis trans. Okay, so this is called by the cis trans. Again you can see here that the bulkier group, look here, the bulkier group here, this is a bulky group and this is another bulky group. If you are considering this double bond, right? So this is the trans, right? Now if we are considering this double bond, that means you can see this group, and this total group will be at the opposite direction. So this is again the trans isomerism. So that is the trans, we can say this is the trans isomerism. Again this is cis isomerism. Why? Because these bulky groups are if we are considering this bond, then these groups are in the same side, and if we are considering this double bond, that means again this group and this group will be the in the same side, that means this is called cis. Now cis trans, you can see that bulky group at this position, and the total bulky group will be at the opposite direction. So this is called this is with respect to this bond, that is the trans. Okay, next if we consider this bond, that you can see that this heavier groups are at the same side, that is called cis, that is why it's called cis trans. So we can have so many, if we can have so many double bond with respect to the double bond, also the cis or trans isomerism can be different. Okay, so this is again configuration of oxenes identified by the prefix syn and anti instead of cis and trans. And aldoxime, the syn isomer in which OH group of the oxime is on the side of the hydrogen of the aldehyde carbon. In ketoxime, the specified group with respect to which oxime group is syn. So here for the oxime group we are not using the cis or trans, rather we are using the syn and anti the configurations. Okay, so here the configuration is syn, and here the configuration is anti, cis or syn and anti the configurations. Okay, you can see here, look, right. So these are the some of the examples of geometrical isomerism. Okay, now what are the properties of geometrical isomerism? One is dipole moment. Okay, melting point, boiling point, density is a different, acid strength, UV spectra, IR and Raman spectra, NMR spectra, and X-ray and electron diffraction. All these properties can be all these properties can be focused while we are discussing about the properties of the geometrical isomer. All these properties we have to discuss while we are dealing with the property of the geometrical isomerism, but in detail you don't have in your syllabus, that's why I'm not telling you. Only remember ki these are the some of the properties that is very important for the geometrical isomerism. Yeah, next is dextrorotatory and levorotatory. Already I have told you in the previous class, if the optically active compound or rotates the plane polarized light by the clockwise direction. Okay, that is earlier case we are denoting by the small d, but in today we are in nowadays we are just modifying it by the positive. If the levorotatory, if the anti-clockwise, the direction rotation of the plane polarized light will be anti-clockwise. So in older version we denoted by the L, but nowadays we denote it by the negative term. Okay, so this is the dextrorotatory and levorotatory, that is depending on the rotation of the plane polarized light. Okay, next is racemic mixture, that is very important. Racemic mixture means due to the reaction, if we have two types of enantiomer, that means the 50% of one enantiomer and 50% of other enantiomer, that mixture is called by the racemic mixture, and that mixture, for that mixture we don't have any type of optical activity, because 50% of the enantiomer will be positive and 50% enantiomer will be negative. So that is why optical activity will be nullified for the racemic mixture. So these are the some of the topics that we this is that is the today's objective. And now I have given one question, that is what are the types of geometrical isomers, and your time starts now. Whatever I have taught, you have to just memorize and then you can answer my question. Yeah, so your 10-second time is over, and you're absolutely right. The answer is cis and trans. The types of geometrical isomerism is cis or trans. Cis and trans. Cis means the bulkier group will be at the same position, same side of the double or triple bond, and the double bond, sorry, and the trans is at while the bulkier group, the priority group will be at the different side. Okay, that is far away from each other, that position is trans. And obviously trans is more stable than the cis conformation, because if we have the bulkier group, that means if we have the cis conformation, cis isomers, for that what will happen, the steric hindrance will be there, that is why energetically high cis configuration is the energetically high. So okay, now this is the recapitulation whatever we have taught today. That is the geometrical isomerism, yeah, configurations, D, L, C, trans, all these configurations we have seen, and also racemization. What do you mean by racemization? That also we have seen. So student, this is the last chapter of the stereochemistry, so you have to follow my classes well and properly. Just go through the study materials and do the assignment in time. I'm again repeating, please, I have given one assignment, please do the assignment in time. So thank you students, and see you in the next class.